This week, Democratic candidates for Governor David Jolly and Gwen visited Panama City to discuss potential impacts of AI data centers in Northwest Florida. Both say if elected in November, their first action would be a one-year statewide moratorium on new AI data centers. The candidates, joined by environmentalist advocates, warned the facilities could threaten Florida's water supply, create noise pollution, and pose public health risk. Jolly says a temporary moratorium would give the state time to study the impacts and make informed decisions.
We need leaders who recognize we need to protect the environment of Florida. We need leaders that recognize we need to protect our communities. But we also need leaders that listen to voters. And voters across the state of Florida right now are saying, we don't want data centers. Gwen and I are going to lead the state in an area of environmental protection, of economic integrity, of community resilience. But we're also going to listen to voters who right now are telling us don't build data centers in the state of Florida.
We did reach out to Brian Donalds, the Republican candidate running for governor, in a statement. While he was not able to speak with us directly, his campaign sent us the following statement that reads in part, quote,
"The law in Florida is clear. No protections for the ratepayers and no protection for the environment means no data centers." And Byron has also filed federal legislation to protect ratepayers, end quote. To read the full statement, visit WJHG.com. Currently, Panama City issued a 12-month moratorium on AI data centers, while Bay County ordered a 6-month ban.
Jolly and Donalds will face off in the midterm elections on November 3rd.